Hi, friends. It's Patty. I'm so excited to bring you this week's episode all about an incredible getaway with Janine Pettit and the Girl Campers. Just a heads up, while the audio is nice and clear, you might notice it's a bit echoey. It was recorded on location in a large hall. I am always working to bring you the best quality RVing podcasts, but when you record on location, it isn't always perfect. Let's dive in. Girl Camper Solo Camping, and it is not what you think. I'm Patti Hunt, and you're listening to the RV Life Podcast.
Patty, it's so good to see you. I'm Janine Pettit, founder of Girl Camper, editor-in-chief of Girl Camper Magazine, and co-host of the Girl Camper podcast. But we're bringing all this feminine energy together this weekend. We are camping down here in South Jersey at Spacious, beautiful campground, Country Oaks. And we got women with stories to tell, so cut back and we're gonna let you know if you have what it takes to be a girl camper.
This whole idea of girl camping, solo camping, has been very different for me. And just to give both of our listeners a little backstory, I was full-time on the road with my husband for over 3 years. We did a lot of miles together. So I never thought about the whole solo camping, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
And over the last year, as some people know, life's changed for me. And now this idea of solo camping. So I've been trying to decide, do I want to go into a van or, what does that look like? Well, this past year, it has been going to lots of campgrounds and renting cabins. This weekend, I am in a retro RV and learning about Girl Camper. So tell my listeners about Girl Camper.
So Girl Camper is the largest women's camping group in the whole country. We have about 450,000 people in our Facebook group. We have thousands and thousands of members who are available to go to girl camping events. We have 20 girl camper guides across the country just creating events and mentoring and helping women get on the road. Our tagline is, we go places and we do things. But our secondary tagline is, there is no wrong way to camp like a girl. So we don't want people to think that if you don't have some cute little tricked out trailer, you're not one of us. We've got women here in tents. We've got women here car camping. We've got women here have taken all the seats out of their minivan and have made a little bed in there for the weekend. We've got women in really large travel trailers and motorhomes. There is no wrong way to camp like a girl. We at Girl Camper want people to know, if you want to make new friends, if you want to challenge yourself just a little bit physically, like, let me stay in shape, let me get out there, let me put myself in situations that,
are scary.
If it's a little scary, that's good. And next time it's a little more scary. And I think that's how we keep from getting too old and set in our ways. But Girl Camper seeks to be the community that helps you and says, don't be afraid, we got your back. Or you know what else? It's okay to be afraid, because we all were at one time, and we will have your back. And these women will circle around you like mother hens, and we're going to make sure you're okay. So that's what we do.
Right. And I've got to say, my experience, I came down, you invited me to come. I just said yes. I did not know.
She didn't hesitate.
I just said, she asked, I said yes.
Girlfriends at the campground.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Well, I also brought my 26-year-old, 27, she'll be 27 next month, daughter along. She's behind the camera. So I brought her to help do video. But she jumped in as well, and she was so welcome. Yeah. And it was just a cool thing to see people of all ages, ladies of all ages. Again, I didn't have expectations, did not know what to expect. And it has just been so much fun. And like you said, I feel comfortable. We went to bed last night and, we're in a, like I said, a retro RV in this campground. We've never been before. And
amongst strangers.
And we just felt safe. Because if you're out there as women, it was a great, safe feeling.
Yeah.
And today I left the RV, locked the door.
Yeah, you were locking it yesterday. I'm like, you don't have to lock it. Yeah.
Don't bother.
Yeah, you don't have to lock it. Yeah. But what's interesting about this is I love talking. We're going to talk to some of the girl campers individually today, because it's always fascinating to me, like, what made you come? why did you want to, what are you seeking? What problem are we solving at Girl Camper? You know, we really approach everybody like we know that there's just very varied reasons people want to get out here. You know, for me personally, I work at home, and when I get out to the campground, it's just new faces, a fresh place to be. Somehow when I'm here, I feel everything come down. Literally, I drive in here on a weekend and I smell campfire. I think something happens in my brain. I just, like I'm here. So for me, I always want to like share that with people and let people know that you can have this experience too. And if you've never been camping before, you know, so I always like am interested in people's backstory. Like, were you a Girl Scout? What did you do when you were young? Did you grow up family camping? It's always fascinating to me, the women who are like, I never camped before. I saw you people online and I thought that looks like so much fun. And one woman told me, I've been following you for 2 years just because I'm fascinated by women who do stuff like this. And she said, early on 2 years ago, I thought, oh, look at those ladies, but they're really brave. I mean, those are people like, that's not who I am. And she said, after 2 years of listening to your podcast and following you, she said, I pulled into an RV dealership one day and drove away with a teardrop.
So it was all your fault.
Don't blame me. I can't. But so she got courage over time.
Yes, and I have to say that for me, realizing one of the big things I realized, so A, to answer your questions, I never camped as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I RV'd a total of 7 nights before I jumped in with both feet full time. And it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So it was like, what choice? I probably would not have done it if it weren't during COVID. I was like, why not? And there's the what could possibly go wrong.
Right.
And I loved it. When we met several years ago. You were actually the first interview on the podcast.
I heard that.
I
remember that.
I was your top 3 still. That episode, for whatever reason. So people obviously want to know.
Yeah.
But what I was most shocked about was these ladies have husbands and family at home. I had it in my head that they were.
That solo women meant single women.
Single women,
And
yes.
you know what? One of these days we're going to do a survey and get the number. But the majority of women sitting around that campfire are married.
Yes.
And men are out there, and you're raising your family, and they're golfing, and they're fishing, and they're having hobbies. And women are kind of doing what women do. And then we get to an age like 55, and it's like, oh, you know, I'm empty nesting. I can do things now. He's got his thing going. What's for me?
Right, but I have to tell you, Dan and I have 5 kids. Between us, 4 of them are married.
Yeah.
And when you look at people who are married, they have kids, they're managing the job, the kids, grocery shopping. They don't often have time for themselves. And I'm finding, and I'm hoping that women today, while they're raising their kids, doing the job, doing all the things they do, that they take time for themselves. So I don't want them to wait until they're 50 and 55 to get out there and take care of themselves. And it was nice to see women here that are younger, that probably still have their young kids.
Oh yeah, we've got women here who still have kids in high school. You know, no shade on men, but a lot of, because I'm sure they're perfectly capable, a lot of women have the mindset that I got to be there to make sure it gets done correctly. And
we got to change that. That's got to change.
I'll tell you a funny story. I still laugh so hard about this. So my youngest daughter was in like 7th grade, and we were down in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, camping, all the girls, on the most gorgeous fall day. And I text my husband in the morning and I said, don't forget that Monique has confirmation retreat today. She has to be at the church at 10 a.m. Gotcha, I'll get her there, right? About 10:30, he sends me a text, you didn't tell me parents had to stay. Okay, so now I'm in a vineyard, we're at a winery, and we're having like these juicy farm-to-table organic burgers, glasses of wine, the sun is shining, and he's texting me, we're on our way to the church now for section 3 of our day, and I was just laughing all day long, and I'm like, And I just kept writing back, but welcome to my world.
Right.
But guess what? It all went off.
Exactly. And that has to change. So
Yeah.
one of the first times I went away, I went on, it was actually a business trip. No, I was a teacher. We were going on some educational whatever. And it wasn't 12 hours.
Yeah.
But I get a text
Yeah.
that he was teaching Emily to play baseball.
Yeah.
And she took the ball in her face.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody lived to tell.
Everybody
Yeah.
had to tell, but I hope that our younger people raising families
Yeah.
take time out. This is a incredible way
Yeah.
to do that. And there are different event hosts in different areas.
Yeah, we've got 20 girl camper guides all around the country, but if you're a girl camper and you're not a guide, you can approach us anytime and say, I'd love to get everybody together at my favorite park or my favorite campground, or let's go for a hike. So anybody in the community can come forward and say, can I host an event? And we love you to do that. But I'm so glad today because we're going to get to talk. You and I are going to take some turns here, talking to some of the women here about what it is that drove them to be a girl camper. And I think their stories are all very different. So we're going to take a break. We're going to have an ad from your sponsor and then one from my sponsor. And we're going to come back, and Patti is going to be talking to Denise, one of my favorite girl campers in the whole wide world, about her evolution as a girl camper and what she is doing out there. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for other great places to stay, Open Road Resorts has 5 incredible locations in Idaho, New Mexico, Nebraska, and 2 locations in Texas. They are highly favored parks on the RV Life Campground Review site. You could go to campgrounds.rvlife.com and find out why these parks are highly favored. And they are highly favored by you, the RVer. So you can see all of the information about these parks, the amenities, the tips, photos, everything you need to know about these parks. Go to openroadresorts.com or campgrounds.rvlife.com. When you're an RVer, you want to know someone is with you every mile, whether it's sales or service. That someone is Blue Compass RV. With over 100 locations coast to coast, featuring more than 15,000 new and used RVs and over 1,000 service bays with more certified RV technician than any other dealer. Blue Compass RV is with you today, tomorrow, and the road ahead. Visit your local Blue Compass RV dealer or go to bluecompassrv.com today. I'm with Denise Schwartz, and we were sitting around last night having s'mores and chatting, and it was just wonderful. So I have so much to talk to you about. First of all, girl camper. How long have you been a girl camper?
About 4 years now. 4 years.
Why? The question.
So I don't even know if Janine knows the story, but I retired 4 years ago. But before I retired, I started looking around for trailers because that was going to be my retirement gift to myself. I grew up camping as a kid, always loved camping. And unfortunately, my ex-husband, who I'm not divorced from, didn't like camping at all. So I didn't camp all the years I was married. But anyway, I started looking at trailers, and I went on a vacation with my sisters to the Outer Banks, and on our way into the Outer Banks, we went past this RV dealer. And I saw this trailer that I had been interested in online at this dealership. So I said to my daughter, I said, on our way home, I want to leave a little early, we're going to stop at this dealership. So we went in, we looked at the trailer, and so I was telling the gentleman, the salesman in there, I said, yeah, I'm going to buy something in about a year when I retire. And I said, but and then I want to travel around, you know. And he said, by yourself? I said, well, yeah, you know. And he said, well, you know, I have a card here for this group. They're called Girl Campers.
Oh, wow.
And it was a business card. And he said, I don't know a whole lot about them, but I know they sponsor camping trips for women, you know, around the country. I said, oh, great, yeah. So I took that card and I put it away. Well, sure enough, so then when I retired and I bought my trailer, I didn't get that trailer, but I got a different trailer. I remembered I had that card, and I got the card out and I went online and I looked them up. And And then I saw that we had a New Jersey chapter. And so then I was able to register online for Girl Campers, and saw they were having an event in North Jersey. So that was my first event up at Camp Taylor. And anyway, but the nice thing about Girl Campers is that you can go to any of the events anywhere in the country, because they have chapters in not every state, but a lot of the states. So any events that they're sponsoring, you can sign up and go to. So I had always wanted to go to Nashville, Tennessee, and so I saw that they were having an event in Nashville. So I drove myself and my trailer. It was the first long trip that I took from New Jersey. I took 3 days to go down.
From New Jersey.
From New Jersey,
Tennessee.
yeah. I went to Virginia the first day. Then I stopped at another campground. It was in Tennessee. It was about 4 hours from Nashville, but it would have been too long of a day to go the whole way. So I stopped there at Fall Creek Falls, which was a beautiful state park. And then I went to Nashville, and I was there. I think we were there for 5 days. So that was my first out-of-state event with Girl Campers, and it was just great. I didn't know any of the women, and but everybody, as Janine was saying, and you said, the women are just so welcoming, and you instantly make friends with people. A woman who I never met before, her and I, we went on a tour of Nashville, and together, we spent the day together, and plus they'll do things together as a group. So it was really great. And so, I just fell in love with Girl Campers, and I just find, every event that I've ever gone to, everybody has been great. And now I've made some good friends that I've actually taken trips with, just her and I, or, sometimes 3 or 4 of us will get together and just, go camping for a weekend together or what have you.
So you've been hooked ever since.
Oh, yeah.
And we sat and talked for a while yesterday. It was great connecting.
Yeah.
I also want to talk to you about, because you came up to me, I said I was with RV Life, and you said, I love the app. So I wanted, you used it in a different way, and it's funny because it's the way I'm using it now. So let's talk about your RV Life app experience.
Yeah, so 3 summers ago, my daughter and I planned it was actually right after I retired, and this was like my retirement trip. So she's a school teacher and has the summers off, so I planned a 6-week trip out west. And so I was already a member of RV Life. And so I saw they had, this cool program that you could go on and plan a trip.
So that's RV Trip Wizard for people.
Right, there would be Trip Wizard. And it is awesome. So, because I didn't know how to plan a camping trip like that, and find campgrounds along the way. And so first, you put in where you're starting, where you're going to end up, and then it shows you an RV safe route on this little map, and you put all the information in about your camping, whether you have a travel trailer or a motorhome or whatever you have, and you put the height, the weight, the length, whether you have propane on board, because a lot of places, like a lot of tunnels, the Baltimore tunnels, you can't go through with propane on board. So the RV app will give you a safe route that you can travel with your RV based on your height and things like that. And then you put in what kind of campgrounds you want to camp at. So whether it's state parks, and you can do multiple ones. So I usually put in state parks. I like KOAs, Corps of Engineer parks, private campgrounds. And then you also put in how many miles a day you like to drive, like what your minimum would be and what your absolute max is. And so what the app will do is it puts circles around your starting point according to your minimum, your medium, and what your max is. So then once you see that along your route, then there's little icons on this map that you see. and it'll have different icons for the different campgrounds. So, and you can click on those campgrounds, and it'll give you all the information on that particular campground. And the thing I love is that they give you reviews. So people like me or anybody else that has used RV Life can go on and leave a review on Campground. So, because they have the website on there for the campground. Well, I don't know if you have used websites for campgrounds, but every campground sounds like it's the Taj Mahal of camping. But then when you go on and read the reviews, some of the reviews, I was like, oh no, I think I want to stay there. So it was very beneficial. But once you pick out the campground and then you make your reservation, you add it to your trip. And so you do that the whole route. So this was a 6-week trip. I had 24 campgrounds reserved. And it was just awesome. And then once you have entered everything in there and you put the price that each campground's going to cost you, you can even put in, if you want, your gas mileage. So like approximately how many miles per gallon do you get, like when you're towing your vehicle or driving your vehicle. And I just had to do an average gas price per gallon. But it'll give you your total for the whole trip of what your gas, on average, it can't be obviously exact. Right. And then it gives you your costs of all your campgrounds, like what your total of that is. You can even put in there, like, how much a day do you think you're going to spend on food? And, even though you're camping, you still got to spend some money. So at the end, you print out your whole itinerary. So it has your campgrounds, how many miles a day you're going to be driving that day. And then, like I said, at the end, it gives you all your totals. I loved it because I was able to print it out, and I gave a copy to each of my sisters so that they knew, because every day I would text them at the end of the day and say, we made it to our next destinations.
And I was going to talk about, you summed it up. You did my job. We're done here. I use the RV Life Pro Suite of products. I have been using it for over 4 years. I promote it. Anybody that does not have it, that wants to check it out, there is a link in the show notes for 25% off. So I want to put that out there. You've explained it well. Now, I never printed it out. I was all digital. You can share your itinerary with somebody that either has the app or does not have the app. So every time I would go from one place to another, for safety reasons. I wanted somebody to know where I was.
Right.
I could just send it to them in a text or an email, and they knew exactly where I was going to be on what day. It's easy to change, and it would change the information to them if you do it electronically.
Yeah, I love RV Life. Like I said, I've done 2 long trips, 6-week-long trips using that app, and I can honestly say it's an invaluable app to use. It takes it's a little learning curve learning it, but once you understand how to do it all, and I'm 69 years old, so I'm not the most tech savvy person, but I was able to figure it out.
And
for the price that they charge you, because then you also get the GPS directions on your phone, so I can hook it right up through my truck, and so it comes up on my screen, because I don't have a GPS actually in my truck, so it goes through from my Apple iPhone. And so it gives me the directions as I'm traveling that day.
Right.
So that's it. It's like having a free GPS, free trip planning. I should say free, but I mean, but for the price you pay per year, so it's cheap.
It is very inexpensive, and right now it's $65 for a year. For the first year, you get 25% off. So you're talking less than $50. And I was talking to some ladies last night, whatever, like that $65 that you're locked in, they will never raise the price. You pay that same price every year.
I didn't know.
You keep it. You didn't know, right? So I think I'm paid $39
I pay $50. I pay $50.
Yeah. So there's that. And
even at $65, I still think that is
yes. So
all you get from that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to tonight and the activities and getting to know you better and more of the girl campers. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi friends, we're back, and I would love to introduce you to Mary Beth Donnelly Rose, one of our New Jersey girl campers. It is good to see you again. Thanks for coming. Our kickoff camp out. I always like to go a little bit backwards with people and ask them what their camping history is. Were you a Girl Scout? Did you grow up camping, family camping?
I was a Girl Scout.
Okay.
And I stayed in Girl Scouts through high school because of the camping. And then when I first got married, I had a baby, and I became a cadet leader.
Okay.
To take them camping.
I
did that for a few years, and then nothing until my second child was old enough to be in cadets. Then I became a co-leader.
Okay.
And did camping again. And then I went back to school, became a teacher, and that was a career. So camping ended. My husband wasn't into it. My parents didn't.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Bill Bradley's radio program, January 2021. So this was like still part of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he was interviewing Grandma Joy.
Okay.
And her grandson.
Yes.
And if I wanted to know the rest of the story, I could read it in Girl Camper magazine. So I went home, subscribed. I said, this sounds really neat.
Yeah.
I love camping.
It's so interesting to me to hear where people found out about her. Grandma Joy, one of my favorite stories, 93 years old, when she started camping with her grandson, who she had been estranged from because of his parents that are divorced. But he wanted to connect with Grandma, and she just wanted to do anything with him. So he took her camping, and now they've been to every national park. I think she's 96 years old now. Grandma Joy's still going.
Yeah.
And so to me, that means that you're never too old. You know, a lot of times people write to me and say, I'm 70 years old and I'm thinking of getting a camper. Am I too old? It's a state of mind.
Right.
And, if you think you're too old to hinge up and do all the things involved with towing your own camper, you just want to come along to the campground, rent a cabin, keep it simple. You know, you can still join us. So you found out about Girl Camper that way. But my bigger question to you is, what made you want to come out here and do this?
Well, I was at a life transition. I retired in June 2019 from teaching. I took 3 big trips because that's what I was going to do when I retired.
Yeah.
And then when I came back from Bali in February, 3 weeks later, the country shut down. So, I either had friends who were still working, friends who retired and moved away, friends who had grandchildren and didn't have time.
Right.
And I needed to find friends. So, and I'm not afraid to go step out and try something new.
That's so great.
So I went to a meet and greet, then I went, my name tag says COVID vacation 2021, October 2021 was my first camping trip.
Yeah, okay.
And that told me my little pup tent needs to be bigger.
Okay.
I want to be able to walk into my tent. So
Okay.
I do have a bigger tent now.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll have an RV someday.
Yes.
It's not off the table, but the tent is working so far.
What I love about the whole idea of tent camping, and we have quite a few tent campers here, and the forecast was for rain all weekend, and we had a little sketchy weather, and it's been a little chilly with spitting once in a while, but we haven't had the downpours that they were calling for. And I love to see these tents set up with the easy up over them. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing this weekend. I said to one of my friends, the weather looks pretty crappy. And she said, I don't care if it's a hurricane. I have got to get out of this house.
That's it.
You know?
Yes.
And so tell us about your very first Girl Camper event. Yeah, I mean, you signed up cold, didn't know a soul.
Right. When I went on that camping trip, I didn't know anybody, but everyone's so friendly. And then I got tips on, what's a good tent, how to keep warm. Like last November, it was frigid.
Yeah.
So I now have a little heater.
Yeah.
I have an army blanket to go over the top of my tent. So people are so willing to share with you. And I made connections. I met one lady for lunch, halfway between. She lives in Pennsylvania. I'm in New Jersey.
Right.
So it's an opportunity for me to make new friends.
Right.
And it just people are so open.
And I often say this, like, when we're busy raising our children and doing the things that we're doing, there seems like a lot of women in your life. I remember a friend said to me when I first joined Girl Camping in 2006, I joined every solo woman camping group out there. It just started going. And my friend said to me, oh, you're going to make so many new friends. And I said, I've got enough friends. I got plenty of friends. I just want to get outdoors. And as the years went by, I thought that was kind of a dumb thing to think and say because you could never have enough friends, right? But the other thing is, a lot of the people in your life when you're raising your children are transient people. Like all those moms that were in the choir with you and that were on your kids' sports team that you spend all this time sitting around trying. Well, their kids graduate, they go off, they're not really friends. They were lovely acquaintances at the time.
Yeah.
And so when we get to this like 50th age and moving forward, meeting new people becomes harder.
Yes, but not with this organization.
Yeah.
Not with this organization.
But it makes me so happy when I hear you say you're meeting someone for lunch.
Yeah.
Because when this spills over into other areas, like a bunch of girls were talking here that, you know, they were in some textile fiber club, they all knit and they're all going to some event together. And it makes me so happy that Girl Camper brought them all together.
Yeah.
They find these common interests other than camping.
Yes, and last October I went to Ireland. Now, we didn't camp in Ireland, but they were girl campers.
Yeah,
so there was
the fun
that,
girl
even
camper
though I
trip.
went by myself, not knowing anybody, I did know it was a safe environment.
Right.
You know, and then coming camping here, I could study a lot about trauma and how to regulate your nervous system. And we know being in the outdoors is helpful for that. It's
very
helpful.
Yeah.
So I know that there's on my schedule, I have trips coming up. that I take
Does
care
it
of.
make you feel better to know, like, I'm at this trip now, but I got another one already planned?
Yes, yeah, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just the anticipation.
Yeah.
We have fun at the events, but what I find so interesting is for each event that we host, there's a Facebook page dedicated to that event. And all the women are on the page and they're talking about, I'm bringing chips and dip. I'm bringing my rocks to paint in the afternoon. Hey, I found a trail and it's a 15-minute ride and it's a 5-mile hike and who wants in? So seeing all that sharing and caring going on before you even get here, talking about the food and your site and where we're going, it's so, collaborative and fun.
And haven't you come across people that said, I would love to do that, but I don't know anybody?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
And this is so easy to get out and immediately you will know people.
One of the things we do in our training with our Girl Camper guides is it's just imperative that everybody feel like you're here. Like you don't have to have some cool trailer. You don't have to have this biggest rig setup. The thing is to just get yourself here and, just see how you like it. And I've seen women evolve and end up getting a camper. And I've seen women who are retired and maybe they're going to go on 2 or 3 Girl Camper trips here and they don't want a big trailer and all that investment, and they'll just rent a cabin or do something.
Yeah.
You don't have to be immersed in the RV world in order to be a girl camper. It's not about RVs, although you kind of want one when you get it. I want one.
On every trip.
You're going to want one. But that's not my problem. It's yours. I'm not responsible for that. But Mary Beth, let me ask you this. A lot of times when I come home from a trip like this, and I'll be driving home and I'll just be thinking, God, it was so good to see them, and I'll just be reliving moments. And I feel like I'm on a little cloud for a couple of days, like I got a good shot of all my girl campers, and I'm like, what is your takeaway? Like, what do you gain from this when you get home? What do you take?
I think it's the friendships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a family of 3 children. I have 2 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 brothers. I'm the only girl. So girl friendships have always been important to me.
Okay.
And I look at girls as my sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And, not everybody is willing to be that level of friend.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's meeting women who are open to that
Mm-hmm.
and being able to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
And, thank goodness for Facebook because
It is.
that makes it
It is.
easy.
Yeah.
But that's my takeaway. It's the relationships
Mm-hmm.
and being in nature are
Yeah.
my 2 favorites.
I think those are, right. So what would you say to someone who's kind of watching us from the outside going, those girls look like they're having so much fun, but they have a little fear about getting in?
Try it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Put yourself out there. And that's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the first meet and greet, I had to drive a distance. I met like 6 women.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like, okay, there are people out there. It's not like all my friends have gone on different paths.
Right.
Like you. I had a lot of friends when the children were home and we were doing things. And then suddenly it was And then the pandemic was right after that.
Right.
So suddenly,
Yeah, the pandemic threw us all for a little loop there, and camping was a real lifesaver. I remember we were camping up in North Jersey at the beginning of the pandemic, before the vaccine was before there was a lot of knowledge about it, but everyone was still going a little stir crazy. And we had a circle, probably 30 feet wide, with chairs 8 feet apart. Like everybody had around with a mask on, but like we had to get out. We had to get outdoors.
Yeah.
And so, Mary Beth, it is so great to see you in your own evolution, you know, coming along here. And it makes me so happy that you've met friends. And I don't want to be biased, but the New Jersey and Pennsylvania girls are pretty cool. You know, they're very, very welcoming.
Yeah.
Very, very welcoming.
it's a nice big group.
It's a lovely, lovely group, and we've got plenty of places to go and things to see.
But not just New Jersey girls, because there's so many opportunities throughout the country.
Yes.
And like my trip to Ireland.
Yes.
There wasn't anybody from Jersey. They were from so many other states, and I like that exposure.
Yes, you meet those
other-
girls. And now we have a new program that we're doing at Girl Camper, where there's really big bucket list trips coming up to Hawaii, to Machu Picchu. Like, we've got some really exotic travel coming up in 2026. And so, but I hope to see you around the campfire soon, and I'm so glad that you made it this weekend.
Yes, thank
so
you.
good to see you, dear.
But I am here now with Carol Thompson,
Yes.
and you are the New Jersey Girl Camper Guide.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means you plan these events. Talk a little bit about what that is, what that looks like.
It's finding other girls that want to go out and camp, and sometimes they don't know what route to go. So Janine Pettit started the Girl Camper, and she's got different guides for different states. And hopefully they'll find different campgrounds or different meet and greets that the girls that want to get out in the outdoors can gather and feel safe. So what I'll do is I'll plan a camping trip. I'll put it on the Facebook page. I'll have girls sign up, and you know, can sometimes maybe 8 or 10, and sometimes we have as many as 40 and 50 girls.
40 and 50
Oh, yeah.
sometimes at an
Yes,
event.
yes.
Wow.
And the nice thing is, just like if you've met any of the other girls, I never camped growing up. I didn't know a lot about camping. Even though I'm the guide from New Jersey, I'm still learning. There's a lot for me to learn. And I'm not embarrassed to say, I don't know. Like, show me.
Yes.
And that's what I love about this group.
And I love that because I never went camping. I had no idea.
Right.
You know, I didn't like bugs, being in a tent, like none of that.
I
was-
own a pest control company, and I hate bugs.
Okay, so there it is. And what's nice is this is a great way to get out of your comfort zone. This is for the weekend. So we're here for the weekend. We arrive Friday afternoon. We're leaving tomorrow. So if you just want to try it out, and I guess if people are in the area, could they come stop by? Like,
We don't really like to do
Okay.
that. We like it to be, because it's a bunch of women.
Right, right.
We like it to be a little private.
okay,
So we don't really advertise where we are,
Right.
but we do a lot of pictures on Facebook, and we open it up to the world to say, oh gosh, where are these girls? Look at this beautiful
Right.
campfire. And then we've got crock pots going, and we've got all kinds of food tables, and get them interested. And we're in our jeans or our flannel
Right.
shirts.
looking like this. This is campground hair.
This is campground attire.
It's what's going on. And that's, so many things I'm thinking all at the same time. I love when that happens. I know going on to the Girl Camper website, and
Yes.
people could go to girlcamper.com.
Yes.
There is a limit to what you can find out until you're signed up and approved, and that is the safety.
Yes,
part
that
of
is
it.
the safety part, and it's very simple to become a
Right.
member. It's only $10. Just sign up one time. You sign up for $10 for the rest of your life, and you can find out what's going on in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland,
So that
Texas.
So somebody who signed up for, say, this event, they realized it was raining, but they wanted to come meet. They had signed up for the event. They could have come over for a couple hours. of the day.
Absolutely.
So we're
Yes.
just keeping
Yes.
it safe, but people could check it out.
Yes.
Now, and I've told people already, I'm here with my daughter, so neither of us knew what to expect. And I didn't really want to know a whole lot. I just wanted to jump in, see what it's like. Again, girls, ladies of all
A
ages.
typical day in a girl camper event is, yes, you sign up, you can see who's coming. We usually have some type of agenda, like, you can bring the potluck, you can bring breakfast, you can bring muffins, coffee. You have the rest of the day to explore. We like to meet at the end of the evening for dinner, talk about what you did during the day. And, but it's not necessarily structured.
It's less structured. I guess in my mind, I thought it'd be a little more structured, but what's cool about it is, it was like, okay, breakfast is 9:00. You were doing bingo at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, I think today, are going to a vineyard or
Yes.
winery.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just
Or they're doing
moment.
crafts. They're
Yeah.
doing crafts at the
Right.
campground.
So it's kind of nice. You do what your thing at your pace. If you decide you want to go to Atlantic City and gamble tonight, I'm sure you could ask the ladies, and you'll have some people that are.
You go to the beach, Ocean City, the beach, Ocean City,
Right.
New Jersey.
It's
is
too
really
cold for
close.
that. So
But,
Atlantic City Casino.
That's
I haven't been there in a long time.
That's true.
Okay, so maybe that's a road trip. So it's nice that you could do your thing. Okay, so you did not start out camping in any way.
No.
What started you,
No.
and how did you get involved with
I've
Girl
known
Camp?
Janine Pettit for many years. I knew her before she started Girl Camper and before she even really started camping with a lot of women. And she invited me to go on a trip. And she said, we're going to go on this little vintage camper. And I was like, no. When I go on vacations, I need a hotel. I need somebody with clean sheets.
3, 4,
like-
5 star.
Yeah, I
thing,
need
yeah.
somebody to take care of everything, and I can just come home and fall asleep and not worry about anything. Of course, I didn't realize the beauty of camping, and this was what really got me excited about camping. You can spend inexpensive amount of money for the places that you're staying at the campgrounds, but I've got my camper, and I've got 5-star, my sheets are beautiful, my towels are pretty, and I don't have to worry about anybody else's things. And but she invited. I got off track there. I'm so sorry.
No, this is what we're going to do.
She invited me on her first trip, and she said, "Okay, Carol, I have this little vintage camper, and I want you to go to Tennessee with me." Now, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 children. I didn't do.
And you were in New Jersey.
And I was in New Jersey, but I didn't do go out to dinner with my girlfriends. I was a mom. I did everything for my kids. And when she said, "Let's go on a road trip," I went, "Who does that? Really? People do that?" So I said, all right, I said, I will go on this trip with you. We were going to Tennessee, and I think we were leaving on a Wednesday, and we were going to stay until Sunday and heading home. I said, I'll go on as long as you promise to go to every antique store. We have to go on, stop at every little sign, little weird sign. We have to do this, and she agreed. Of course, I pull up in her driveway, and she had the cutest little camper. It was so adorable. It had everything you needed. It had big feather bed mattress. It had a little kitchen with a sink and a refrigerator. I liked coffee back then, so I could have my coffee on the road. And I said, okay, I'm game. Of course, I packed too much stuff, but I'd never been on a road trip before, so I didn't know. And as we were getting ready to leave Janine's house, of course, this is the first time Janine ever did a tow the camp or anything, so we're driving. And we kept looking back going, oh, okay, it's still there, it's still there. And we're driving, we're only 2 blocks from her house. And I turn around and go, Janine, do you have a cat? She goes, no, I don't have a cat. I said, well, Janine, there's a cat walking back and forth in front of the camper window. We went, oh my God. The camper was in front of Janine's house. And as we were packing it, for the trip, she left the door open and her neighbor's cat.
Oh my goodness.
Now, this was before Janine and I even knew how to back up or park or anything. So even though her house wasn't too far behind us, we didn't know how to back up. So we had to drive 3 blocks around the block to get it back to her neighborhood so we could drop the cat off. So that was my first introduction.
And even with that, you were still willing to do the trip.
So we were laughing so much, and we hadn't even started yet.
And as you're telling the story of how much you packed and stopping at antique stores, have you ever seen the movie Long, Long Honeymoon with Lucille Ball?
Yes, I love it.
My mother made me watch it for the 3rd time. And that's what I was thinking about. So did you?
That was kind of like Janine and I really on the trip,
Okay.
because the bad thing is when you have a camper behind you and you are going to antique stores or little shops, you don't have to worry about putting it in your car. You got a big camper.
Right.
And even though it's a little tiny camper, man, we fit some really good things in that camper to take back home to New Jersey.
You have to watch your weight to watch that
Well,
movie.
we
Long,
do
Long
have to do
Honeymoon.
that.
Yeah, with
As a
Lucille Ball.
matter of fact, I had a camping trip in November, And somebody bought a big screen, and the movie we watched was Lucille Ball and the Long Walk trailer. It was so much fun.
It's yes, I want to hear from people, and whoever has watched this movie, you know what we're talking about.
Oh, we
If you
do.
haven't watched it, you need to watch it.
Yes, that is, if you want to know anything about camping and stuff, that is
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you go on this trip to Tennessee, you collect your antiques, you come back.
And I think somebody's mentioned before, I didn't know a lot of people that camped because I wasn't a camper.
Right.
And when we went to Tennessee, we didn't know a soul. These girls met us, took the keys from us, parked the car, parked the camper, had a fire going with some burgers and hot dogs.
Well, let's be clear here. When my experience with camping, that is not it. So if you want that kind of 5-star camping, make sure the campground you're going to provides that.
Well,
For the most part, campgrounds do not park your
No,
RV
no, they
or
don't.
your car, set up the fireplace. Now, there are campgrounds that do.
Oh, they do?
Yes, there are campgrounds
Oh,
that do.
okay.
They're 5-star
Okay,
campgrounds, but for the most part, you're going to do that stuff yourself. But the RV community, if you had to go into a campground and back that trailer up and you couldn't do it, there would have been people coming from all
Yes.
over to help and support you.
And throughout the years, I just realized, I think I've been camping, I thought it was only 7. I've probably been camping now for about 15 years with Janine. And there have been a few scary times I pulled into a campsite. I didn't think I was going to be able to back it in. And I probably tried 6 or 7 or 8 times. And if somebody walked up to me and said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Please take over."
Yes.
I was not embarrassed. Now I can do it. But
Right.
back then, it didn't bother me that somebody wanted to come in and help me.
Right.
And that's how the campers are.
And that is the learning experience. So anybody coming in with it, just coming like Emily and I for the weekend.
Yes.
As I said, we're in a retro RV. I haven't been in an RV in a year. So it's like, all right, I got to remember these things. But there were things I did not know how to work the stove in this particular RV. So I asked the maintenance guy because he takes care of the RV. And it is always a learning. So anybody that says, I know nothing about it, I want that to be the message that's out there. Find your tribe, find your group of people.
Yes.
And get out, just take a step at a time. We are all still learning.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate, because what you don't know, somebody will show you, and what you know, somebody's going to learn from you. I mean, I never tent camped, but I did start out with vintage campers. So I was used to, it's really like a tent off the ground, because you don't have hot water, you don't have a shower, you don't have a bathroom. But I felt it was a little enclosed and I couldn't do tent camping. So I probably had 3 or 4 vintage. And now I just got a regular travel trailer. Oh my gosh, I'm in seventh heaven. I've got hot water, I've got a shower, I've got a bathroom. So it's amazing how what I think Girl Camper did for me, it built my confidence.
Yeah.
I felt like I could do this.
Right.
And I started out with, I had no idea.
Right. And find what works for you is what I keep saying. So as of last year, we sold the RV and I'm solo. And so I was trying to think, do I want to get a van and travel around? Do I want to get something bigger? And I'm really enjoying going into a campground where I'm staying in a cabin or like this retro RV that does have running water, had a shower. It actually has a little tub in there.
Oh my gosh.
A little
See,
bathtub.
it's amazing how it's like
So the
camping
bath bomb
experience has evolved.
Yes, so the shower bomb. Yes, so find what works for you is the messaging here.
Yes.
So then you've got a lot of events that you have planned, and I know in the previous part of the interview, even outside the country.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The new thing with Girl Camper now is bucket list trips. They have Hawaii set up. They have Costa Rica set up. I think
Peru.
and Peru. Yes.
Wow, okay.
And isn't that wonderful? You can go across the world, but have your own little tribe. So you'll feel a little bit safer when you're traveling across the world. And I love that.
And that is a big thing for me. So for those people, that are listening on Janine's podcast or new people to mine, as of a year ago, my husband went into the hospital, and so I am solo. He is, just for people who don't know, he's cognitively impaired and will not recover. So thinking about this idea of solo camping, or traveling by myself, I'll be honest, I don't like it. I want to be with people. Now there are times you want to go back to your own bed, your own space, and just check out. But I keep thinking about, because I want to travel not only more in the country, but outside the country. I have a huge bucket list, but I don't see doing these things all of them. It's just not my thing.
No, but what I like here too is you can travel with a group, but there's so much downtime for yourself. Like if you need to just escape and just relax a little bit.
Or if there's something you guys are doing.
You don't have to do everything that's on the table there.
Right.
You can just choose what you want to do.
Right, and that's the nice part of it. And then to know that you're also doing these huge trips outside the country. We'll have to talk more about that.
Plus, what I like is because there's a lot of groups in different states. Like I've been to Tennessee. I took my camper on the George Washington Bridge. I mean, I was in the pier. My
sure about
camper
that,
it wasn't supposed to be.
Oh,
But I did.
okay, so wait, you took the camper on the George Washington Bridge. I do not recommend this, and you weren't supposed to be there, so you probably didn't
But I
have the
didn't
RV Trick Wizard at the RV Safe
Well,
GPS.
this was probably 11 years ago.
Okay.
This was 11
Okay.
years ago.
But we all make those mistakes.
We do.
You got through
And like I
without
said,
damage.
it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve.
Yes, yes.
But I've been to Tennessee. I've been to West Virginia. I've been to so many different states. And sometimes by myself. Because I knew there was going to be a campground. There were going to be like-minded people. And I could still be by myself because I had my camper to be private. Or if I had, you can stay in a cabin or like you rented a camper. But if I wanted to explore and do other things, there'd be other people there to share it with.
This has been such, like I've known, like I said, Janine for, I don't know, over 2 years, 2.5 years. She was the first episode on the podcast. She was the first interview. And I've learned so much in just the last 24 hours. So thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you
and I'm
so
looking
much.
forward to an amazing night, karaoke tonight.
Karaoke tonight, yes.
And tomorrow. And
Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun talking with everybody here this weekend, and I'm so glad they got to meet you. And you can expose your RV Life podcast to a new group of people.
I am so glad you invited me. And like I said in the beginning, you invited me. You said, this is the weekend. Didn't even explain. I just said yes and went for it. And I'm
Girls
so
just
glad.
want to have fun.
Yes.
When I see a woman who needs a break, I'm on you. I'm on you. No, this has been a lot of fun. And I so appreciate the effort people like Carol make, because it is the position of the guides and the other women here that, we raise up from the bottom. So that's been really great. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about Girl Camper and RV life. We really appreciate that.
And I am so glad to have you on. I know there are a lot of women out there. And again, these are not single women for the most part. If you're single, it's fine. If you're married, it's fine. If
You're
have a
whatever.
bunch of-
Yeah.
whatever.
Whatever.
This is the group that is totally accepting. And I'm so glad to have been part of this and talk to the ladies.
Well, we were thrilled to have you.
Well, before we wrap up, I'm not letting you go yet.
Okay.
We're going to do the question of the week, which is brought to you by Cool RV. So
Oh,
those RVs that have the air conditioners that need to be cooler, Cool RV is what you need. I'm going to ask you the question. I'll give you a minute to think about it. I feel like sometimes these questions for people who travel a lot is sometimes harder.
Yeah.
I want you to share with both of our audiences what is on your bucket list.
RV adventure should be cool and quiet, not hot and noisy. Meet Cool RV, the revolutionary RV air conditioner upgrade that gives you cooler air, more airflow, and whisper quiet performance. And the best part, they start at just $84.95 with free ground shipping. Stay comfortable without breaking the bank. Upgrade your RV today and enjoy the chill without the roar. Cool RV, stay cool, stay quiet, stay adventuring. Order now at coolrv.com. That is KOOLRV.com. There is a link in the show notes.
I try to do a bucket list trip per year. Okay, so I'm 65, proud to say that. Getting younger by the day. And I feel like there's so much time that I have left. I don't know, we're healthy, we're happy, we're moving along, right? But so I try to do one bucket list trip a year. Last year I went to Alaska, but I also went to Morocco. So I did 2 last year. This year I'm kind of keeping it local. And I'm doing a trip I've wanted to do for so long where I'm going down to Kentucky with the girl campers where you can do kayaking in caves down in
I
Kentucky.
was just talking about this with my daughter.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I wonder if it's the same place.
I'm sure it is. I'm going there in August. So that's my bucket list thing this year. Yeah.
So maybe I'll join you on that trip.
fun.
That is a bucket list item
Yep.
for me.
Yep.
I'm staying at Firefly Hills in Kentucky. It's Beesville, Kentucky. The place sounds amazing. The
Okay.
campground sounds amazing, and I am going to be doing
Well, I don't remember the exact name of the organization that we go, but it is in Slade, Kentucky, Slade, Kentucky. I just remember mapping it, like how am I getting from here to there? So somewhere in Slade, Kentucky, there's caverns and caves, and you kayak in them, and it looks really cool, and I can't wait to do it.
Yes.
Put together by Nancy Grant, our Illinois Girl Camper Guide. So
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'll join you on that
Yeah.
trip. And
Would you love
anybody who's listening or watching that wants to join, you just go to girlcamper.com.
and
Sign up to see
It
the
costs
event.
it costs $10 because we need to know that you are who you say you are. So we ask you for $10, and then we can match your credit card, and we know you're not somebody's crazy ex stalking them. So we're just like making sure that we don't show all where these women are camping by themselves or in groups. But so you need to put your money where your mouth is if you want to know where we are. It's $10, one-time fee. It's not even an annual fee. And then you're vetted, and we can get in and see where all the events are. So we'll hope you'll take a look and join us.
Yes. Yes.
And subscribe to Girl Camper Magazine and follow the podcast and join us on our Facebook group. Lots of places.
Yes. Yes.
And where do people find RV Life?
So they can find me at podcast.rvlife.com. That website is being revamped, as I understand, but it is there. Comments, questions, anything, people you want to see on the show, go to RV Life Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I know for both of us, we want to hear from you. And I know I'm now answering every message. I might have to have people that help with that. But yes, I'd love to hear, you know, as a woman, what does this sound like something you want to do?
Yeah.
Get on and share.
And just,
comment.
I think the takeaway would be like, don't think you have to go all in, like it's a timeshare or something. Like just sign up, rent a cabin, and come to one event. See how you like it, or just come to one of our meet and greets.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out again to Spacious Skies Country Oaks in Dorothy, New Jersey, 30 minutes from the Jersey Shore. They have been amazing.
Yeah,
This
it's such a
campground
great
is
campground.
Incredible. We both highly recommend it.
So
we have to get that shout out. Yes.
Yeah. No, I have a seasonal site here, so I'm biased.
Okay.
And it's very chill. It's very like a little family campground, but not too big. Not you know, they got the things kids like. They got a pool. They got a bouncy thing. You know, the kids are all riding their bikes. You know, but it's not a mega like overwhelm you.
Right.
You know,
It's a very
so it's
warm,
chill, warm
yes,
family campground.
yes. And people can actually check out, I did a review while I was here. It's a brief review because it's cold and cloudy and things aren't in bloom yet. So people can check that out on my new YouTube channel, Inspired Travels with Patti.
Aw.
It's just started. It's still a little messy, but check out
Getting there.
the videos.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Patty, it was so great to see you,
It was
and we're
great
so
to see
glad. So you know where to follow all of us. We'd like to see you sharing this, but thank you for joining us, and we'll see you around the campfire. Happy trails.
It's now time for the featured Campground, brought to you by RV Life. This week's campground is Thousand Trails Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. This is a Thousand Trails campground, but you do not need to be a member to stay at this campground. Thousand Trails Williamsburg has lots to offer. There are full hookups, pull-in sites, a dog park, and they have cabin rentals, which is a favorite of mine. There's a lot to do in the area, and it is just a great place to stay with a solid 7.5 rating on the RV Life campground site with 111 reviews. Go to campgrounds.rvlife.com and enter Thousand Trails Williamsburg, and you can see all the pictures, the tips, the full list of amenities about this property, and you can book right from this site. RV Life Campgrounds is part of the RV Life Pro Suite of products, and it is the most comprehensive source of RV parks, campgrounds, resorts, as well as city, state, and national parks, Corps of Engineer properties, and so much more. Visit campgrounds.rvlife.com to find out everything you need to know. And if you're not already an RV Life member, go to the link in the show notes for 25% off. Thank you to my listeners for listening to this episode with Janine Pettit. Remember, life's a journey. Live each day to the fullest without regrets. I'm Patti Hunt, and you have been listening to the RV Life Podcast.